Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here. Hey, are you guys hungry? Are you sure you don't want to, go get a quick bite to eat and then come back? Why am I asking? Well, because today's review is all about Delicious in Dungeon, and if the title didn't give it away, this is gonna make you hungry. So go grab a snack and come right back to enjoy my review. Delicious in Dungeon is a show more than just about cooking delicious meals in a dungeon. It's about cooking monsters into delicious meals in a dungeon. Yes, you heard that right. They cook monsters. And right there, you're either on board and curious, or you're immediately disgusted and clicking away. However, I implore you to keep an open mind, as if you choose not to engage with the show, you're gonna be missing out on some of the best content of the year for sure. There's also a really good story that revolves around the cooking of said monsters that is sure to grab and keep your attention, if the monster cooking alone doesn't do it for you. The story begins with a group of dungeon raiders that is just about to be wiped out by this ferocious red dragon. At the last second, the sister of the protagonist warps the party out of the dungeon but gets eaten herself. However, as these red dragons tend to eat their prey whole, there is a chance that she may still be alive and the party has to get to her as quickly as they can. But seeing as they have an entire dungeon to get through just to reach her, and seeing as they were not prepared to even fight the dragon in the first place, they're essentially rushing back in ill-prepared and with no food. Thus, the cooking of monsters portion of the story comes into play. Delicious in Dungeon is a very pretty show to look at. Everything has just a very appealing look to it, especially in the action sequences where you can tell everything was taken up a notch. However, where the nomination is truly warranted is in the presentation of the food. This show is going to make you hungry, no doubt about it. Sure, some of it can be weird given they're making meals out of monsters, but in the end, there's no denying the appeal that each of these dishes have. The food in the show is so fascinating, how it's prepared, what they do with these creatures to make these dishes, that YouTube videos have been made reenacting the dishes themselves. Only, with actual food ingredients and not creatures. Even if that portion of it is not enough to get your attention, there are still some excellent action scenes where, again, that animation is cranked up a notch. So if you're just not convinced that the food portion of cooking these monsters is going to entice you, there is still plenty of fights around. I mean, they gotta fight the monsters in order to cook them, right? And when we get to the second half of that first season, when shit truly hits the fan, the action is taken up even one more notch, and you really start to get some intense battles that'll have you on the edge of your seat. Again, all beautifully animated, and this is a category most definitely deserved for the nomination. Right here. If there is any award that Delicious in Dungeon deserves to take home, it's in its character designs. Good lord, there are so many of them, all interesting, all unique. The main party is already more visually appealing than a majority of other anime out there that essentially do the same dungeon crawling thing. But throw into the equation all the monster designs that the show contains, and there's no reason we shouldn't be honoring the show in this regard. One telltale sign to show that you have amazing character design is in how much people want to cosplay as these characters. And I think out of all the nominations, with maybe the exception of Frieren, I've seen the most cosplays out of this cast. And for good reason, they're all fantastic characters. The design is just the visual aspect of them, which is already appealing, but you also throw in their personalities, which they're all unique, they all have their quirks, and they're gonna put a smile on your face. And again, even if you're not just taking a look at the main cast and going, oh, well, yeah, they're fine, or I actually don't care about the designs of the main cast, you have so many different monster, creature designs. I mean, just the first monster, right? Not the red dragon, the mushroom thing that walks onto, like, that itself is just a fun design and a great introduction to the whole food making aspect of the show. So, hands down, a worthy nomination, and one that I do think it deserves to go home with the win for. Whether it will or not, who can say, but at the very least, it definitely deserved the nomination. From what I can see, Yoshihiro Miyajima hasn't really directed anything that spectacular in the past. Don't get me wrong, he has some decent work under his belt, but as for something that's been amazing or it's blown me away, I can't say that's been the case thus far. As such, I think his directing in Delicious in Dungeon is his best by far. His action scenes are shot in a very intense way. There are various reveals throughout that deliver a good gut punch presentation, and the comedy is exactly as it should be for a show of its ilk. But what really helps sell the nomination for him and makes the experience stand out is the camera work and presentation of the food. That by itself is worthy of Yoshihiro being considered one of the best of the year. Take a look at these two comparisons and now decide which one truly stands out. Food is an art form, and especially when you're doing a show that is centered around cooking, you're gonna wanna show the process of the food. And if the final product doesn't look appetizing or tempting in any way, then I can see people shrugging going, whatever, it just looks like the manga, what's the big deal? Not that I'm talking shit on the manga or anything, but one of these makes me hungry and the other does not. So that alone is amazing. But again, you have these great action scenes as well, where the camera work definitely accentuates some of the battles, the grandiose monsters on display, the comedy aspect of it as well. I mean, again, you need sharp camera work to make certain jokes land, and he does that incredibly well. And then during the second half, again, where things start to take a grim tone, there are gut punch reveals that I think are delivered just right, in the way that really makes your stomach kind of sink, and almost in that way, your stomach is being affected in multiple ways. So whether that's intentional or not, I don't know, but just that alone, just the duality of it, I think is impressive and most definitely worthy of the nomination for director because of it. So here's a nomination I'm not too sure about. A majority of the story in this season takes place in the dungeon itself. And while there are some interesting layouts from time to time, a majority of it is just stone walls. It's not terrible, it fits the story, but I remember being more underwhelmed throughout in this regard. That being said, there are still some nice shots. They do the most with what they can with what they're given, so in that sense, I can see wanting to reward them, but I don't know, I just don't think the setting itself is all that impressive, and it doesn't give them a lot of room to really make these colorful backdrops. So maybe not a nomination I would push for, but I guess it's not one that I hate either. Now, this is a new category to the Anime Awards this year, which I'm very happy with. I think this is a great category to introduce, but because it's new, I think the people who choose who the nominees are going to be maybe are still wrapping their minds around what really should be included or what qualifies for background art. And as such, I just don't think this one is all that strong. You also have the problem every single year where a show is just incredibly popular, and so it sticks out to them in their minds, and thus they're putting it into almost every category, even ones that I really don't even think deserve it. So yeah, not a big fan of this one, but again, it's not terrible, or I may be missing something. So if I'm crazy, let me know in the comments below, but from what I've seen, apart from just a few little areas where I'm like, oh, that's a neat layout, it's just stone walls, and I just don't think it's that impressive. While Delicious in Dungeon is most definitely a comedy front and center, It's worth mentioning that at about the halfway point in the season, things take a much darker turn. All of a sudden, the goody characters that we're getting to know up to this point open up more. Like, their faults really start to show. You're gonna get angry with them at points, but because of that, they start to feel believable. And while the show still tries to keep things lighthearted at points, it's still funny in the second half as well, there is definitely a shift in atmosphere that permeates the air. And it's fucking awesome. I mention this because those that think they're just getting a comedy from start to finish and thus maybe not giving the show a chance because of it are missing out. There are those action scenes. There are dark moments. There are points where truly these characters are in a shitstorm almost, and you're thinking to yourself, how the hell are they going to get out of this? So please don't dismiss the show just because, yes, it is a comedy front and center. There are still those very dark moments, and it helps make the show stand out all the more. And it actually makes the comedy just land a bit harder when you have that levity in the second half. So take that for what it's worth. I still say give it a shot, even if you're not a comedy fan, just because you are going to get those darker moments as well. If there was one character that needed the nomination here, it most definitely had to be Senshi. Not only is his design freaking great, and he's the one that essentially shows the team how to cook the various monsters, he's also a big sweetheart that it's difficult not to like him. His backstory is also the right amount of tragic, and you feel for him more just based on what he's been through because of it. He's also a badass at points, using his cooking pot as a shield that is practically indestructible. Senshi is the full package, and definitely deserving of the nomination. That's not to say that the rest of the supporting cast is bad. I do like all of them. However, a lot of the other ones do have their annoying moments as well. I know Itsuzumi was a really popular one when that character was introduced. There were so many drawings I saw, cosplay that I saw. That character really took off, so maybe they missed the nomination by that much. But again, they also had their annoying traits, so for me, it's Senshi all the way. He's the standout supporting character and most definitely deserving of the nomination. We're back on that Senshi train, baby! Now, at first, you're probably thinking to yourself, is Senshi someone that should fall under the must protect at all costs character category? I mean, look at him. He's a stouty dwarf with a big beard. He smells from what the show tells us, and he's pretty strong, so does he even need protecting? The answer to that is most definitely yes. First, you say stouty dwarf, I say short king. Nothing wrong with beards, in my opinion. As for the smell thing, I mean, he's an animated character, so I don't really think we could hold that against him. And yes, he is powerful, so maybe won't need protecting that much, but who's to say that strong characters can't be protected, huh? I mean, look at Boji. That kid is incredibly strong, but I would protect him in a heartbeat. And Senshi definitely falls under the same umbrella for me. He's lovable, he's a sweetheart, he's a great cook. I mean, how do you not want to protect the cook in the party? And his backstory, you feel for him. He's got some great funny moments. Yeah, he's the full package. Like I said in the previous category, he's the full package. He definitely deserves the nomination. And yes, protect him we must. Miss Sayaka Sembongi makes her grand appearance at this year's Anime Awards. Have you seen her credits? That woman is a workin'. I mean, this season of anime in particular contains Sayaka overload. So trust me when I say you most definitely have heard her in the past, or if you're even currently watching anime, you've probably heard her in multiple series. As for her work in Delicious in Dungeon as Marcille, it's pretty good. She definitely doesn't hold back, which is required for such an animated type of character, if you can excuse the pun there. I do find the performance to get a bit annoying at points. I mean, she screams and overreacts to just about everything, so I do think that works against her. But man, is Sayaka putting her whole soul into it, so it's hard to fault her for the nomination just because the character herself is kind of annoying. Okay, look, I know I'm hard to please in terms of voice acting, so it's like, again, for me, voice acting, the ones that really stand out to me are the ones who are doing something unique, or they're going over the top. Sometimes you'll have a voice that, man, just fits perfectly with the character, although I find it, especially in English, that's not always the case. So I don't know, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud or some stuck-up, like, elitist. I'm not. Like, I don't think any of these people do a bad job, but the whole yelling thing kind of gets annoying at points, so I probably would have nominated someone else. But again, Sayaka's putting her heart and soul into it. She's not holding back. She's doing exactly what's needed for the character, so I'm okay with the nomination. She can stay. Congratulations, Sayaka. You're doing fantastic work. And yeah, I'm going to continue hearing you throughout the season, so I'm sure you'll be back to the Anime Awards in due time. Alright, and now here's an example of a voice performance that I actually do enjoy. Now, I'm sure many anime fans out there will know who Sungwon Cho is, and he's been nominated before for his work on Ranking of Kings. Even if you don't know him as an actor, you will definitely have heard him in the various games, cartoons, and anime that he's been in. And he's quite good. Now, I'm personally a fan and follower of his Instagram account, so there's that for you. Here in Delicious in Dungeon, he gives Senshi the right amount of pitch to still make him a character that you can't help but want to snuggle with. Or is that just me? Look, you can't make a must protect at all cost character have a stupid voice. Like, you just can't without getting, like, raked over the coals for it. And I think Sungwon does a fantastic job of giving him that personality to that character that the Japanese version also does. So yes, I do think it is worth the nomination, and I think this is just an example of a voice that just fits the character just right. It is exactly what I was just talking about. You see it, you imagine a voice in your head, and then you hear it and you go, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking it would be. So good on him for that. So, does Delicious in Dungeon stand a chance at winning Anime of the Year? I'm gonna say no, and not because the show is not popular. It is, but there are far too many other, more popular shows. Not only that, but I'm actually kind of worried that the show may go home empty-handed. Like, I really hope it doesn't. It's a great show. I do think it should go home with an award or two, but again, given as this is a popularity contest, I just don't see that happening. We'll see. I'll wait for my full-on predictions to give you my full-on thoughts, but as of right now, I just don't think it's looking very good. But I will say this. I don't think it's 100% impossible. Like, it definitely has a better shot than other shows, but yeah, I wouldn't be predicting it. But while it may not have a chance at the grand prize, I still think the show is freaking great. For my score, I give Delicious in Dungeon a 4 out of 5, with a recommendation to see it. If you've been hesitant due to its plot, you're doing yourself a disservice. Hold your nose, take a bite, and you may find yourself hungry for more once you do. Halfway done with the anime reviews, and thus far we've had straight 4 out of 5s, which I know sounds like I'm being contradictory when I say, hey, this is the best of the best, but it's the best of the best within the seasons of the nominations being chosen, so take that for what it's worth. I still really like the series. I've recommended all of them, so it's not like I'm saying any of these are bad, but nothing's completely blown me away. Hopefully that changes. I do want a show I can 100% back and get excited and talk to you guys about. Will that happen soon? Guess you'll just have to come back and see. So until then, everybody, enjoy the rest of your meal, stay safe out there, and have a good one.